Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today for our virtual Healthy Minds, Healthy Bodies seminar, Nutrition on a Budget. We appreciate you waiting just a couple of minutes while we worked out some technical difficulties. As a reminder, all lines will be muted. The presentation will also be recorded and provided in a follow-up email. Please submit if you will, please submit any questions via the Q&A box. Questions will be monitored throughout the duration of the seminar, and time will be reserved at the end of the presentation to address these questions. We will do our best to address all the questions that have come in during the presentation, but if we reach the closing time of today's event, for any questions that we're unable to address, answers will be provided in the follow-up email that you will receive, which will also contain a link to a webinar recording. A link to a survey will be provided at the end within the Q&A box, so you may give us your feedback regarding today's presentation. Today's presenter is Brooke Reeves. Brooke is a dietetic intern with the nutrition department at Samaritan Albany General Hospital. She's under the supervision of registered dietitian Heidi Graham. Brooke is working on her Master of Science in Nutrition and Dietetics at Oregon State University. She has some great information to share with us today, so I'm going to hand it over to Brooke now.
Great. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Erin, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Everybody for joining us today. I'm excited to share some interesting information and tips and tricks to save money while giving yourself good nutrition. So just as an introduction, I want you all to know that eating well does not have to be frustrating, expensive, or time-consuming. Especially in our current world right now, we have a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stress going on, so I hope that this presentation finds you well and takes a little bit of stress out of your day. Next slide, please, Erin. So just as a general outline for our presentation, first we're going to go over how to build simple, nutritious meals, and then we're going to talk a little bit about meal planning, and then we're going to go on a little grocery store tour together. Next slide, please. So for step one, how to build a simple and nutritious meal. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the MyPlate model. This was brought out by the USDA in about 2011, I believe, and it replaced the food pyramid, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with, but the food pyramid was a nutrition guideline prior to the MyPlate. So it had the grains at the bottom, the fruits and vegetables, and then protein and sweets and fats at the top. The MyPlate model came out and it's more realistic. So you can actually look at your plate for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and make sure you're getting all the food groups you need. Next slide, please. Oh, I think we skipped one. Maybe not. Okay, so we're going to have a couple. We can go to the questions. Thanks, Erin. We can go to the question slide. So there we go. Thank you. So I'm going to have a couple questions pop up during the presentation just to go over a couple things. So my first question is, how many servings of fruits and vegetables are recommended to consume every day? And the answer options are 3 servings per day, 5 servings per day, 7 servings per day, and 8 servings per day. You may have already seen the answer, and it is 5 servings per day. So if you think about your general day, kind of think about how many servings of fruits and vegetables you get a day. And a serving is usually about a baseball size of a fruit or a vegetable. So just think about that as we're going through the presentation. We can go to the next slide. So here's an example of a simple meal you could make that's quick and easy. So here's our MyPlate model, and here's the different food groups we could use. So for grains, I chose some rice-a-roni Spanish rice. For our protein options, some canned black beans. And then for vegetables, I chose some sauteed bell peppers, a can of corn, and a little bit of avocado to put on top. And then for your dairy option, sometimes this looks like a glass of milk, but it can also be cheese or sour cream that you would put on top. And you may be thinking, well, we're missing the fruit. So if we go to the next slide, as a little dessert or side, you could have some frozen peaches with some yogurt and then some grains. You could put some granola and sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on top. So as you can see, there's numerous varieties that you could make using the MyPlate model, creating meals for yourself. We can go to the next slide, please. So I just wanted to share a couple resources with you to find simple, easy recipes that include all of the food groups in the MyPlate model. So this resource here, myplate.gov, has a kitchen tab on their site, and it has all of these different recipes, as you can see here on the slide, of simple, and you can see on the side too, it has a rating of how expensive the meal would be to make. So just a great resource to use. And we can go to the next slide, please. Another awesome resource is Food Hero, and they're out of Oregon State University's Extension Service, and they have a lot of kid-friendly meals and stuff on here too. So as you can see on this first box on the top, you can sort by category. So 30 minutes or less, 5 ingredients or less, kid approved, special diets, all that on there. And then it also has a screen where you can look through different types of meals you're trying to make. So if you're trying to make dessert or main courses or dinners, you can find quick, easy, healthy recipes there. Next slide, please. Here's a couple examples of recipes from Food Hero. So as you can see, simple, minimal ingredients, and kid-friendly as well. Next slide, please. So now that we've talked a little bit about building simple, nutritious meals, I want to talk a little bit about meal planning. So meal planning can look like multiple different things for different people and what you have going on. So as the picture shows here, you have every day of your week, and then 3 columns, so breakfast, lunch, dinner. This is just one way that you could meal plan for your week. Next slide, please. Here's another example. So as you can see, the dinner, lunch, breakfast, every day of the week, and then at the bottom they have tips for, okay, Monday I need to do this, Tuesday I need to do this, and so forth. Next slide, please. This is also another great way to meal plan. You could set out your month and then just pick out the dinners that you're going to make every day of the month. And as you can see here on the weekends, there's free days. So pizza night, dinner at mom and dad's house, things like that, special events. This just takes the stress off of you getting home from work and then being like, okay, what am I going to make for dinner tonight? Next slide, please. So there's numerous benefits of meal planning. So here I have, it saves you time, stress, and money. When you can get home and know what you're preparing for dinner or already have something prepared, that saves you so much time and stress. And also money. If it's something you have on hand, you don't have to rush to the grocery store or rush to a restaurant to get takeout. It also cuts back on food waste. So when you're going to the grocery store, you're buying these specific items because you know what you're going to make for the week. And that way that you're not just buying cauliflower and apples and random foods that may go bad in a week if they're not used. And then lastly, it ensures your family is getting a balanced meal. So when you're meal planning, you can think of your MyPlate model and be like, okay, for dinner on Tuesday night, we need a veggie in there because you have your meal plan, but you need to add a veggie in. So just make sure, it ensures that your family is getting all those nutrients and preparing you for success. Next slide, please. So for steps for meal planning, one, I like to think, okay, what do I have on hand? What's in my pantry? What can I use? What needs to be used up? And then I think of, okay, what special occasions do I have going on this week? Do we have a birthday party? Do we have any other special events that I need to get extra things at the grocery store for? And then after that, plan the meals that you'll be making that week, or if you're doing your monthly, what are you going to be looking at there? Next slide, please. Okay, we have another question. So speaking of reducing food waste, what percent of food is wasted in the United States? The options are 15%, 30%, 40%, or 70%. Give you a couple seconds. Okay, and we can, next slide. The answer is 40%, which is huge. So meal planning, as I said, a great way to reduce your food waste. Next slide, please. This is one of my favorite websites to use for if you have a whole bunch of leftover ingredients and you don't know what to make with them. So this is supercook.com, and you can go to their website and then click in the ingredients that you have. So say you have potatoes, black beans, and tomato sauce or something like that. You click in all those ingredients and it pulls recipes from all over the web of recipes that you can make with those ingredients on hand. So a great way to last minute make a meal so you don't have to go to the grocery store, and also reduce your food waste. Next slide, please. This is also a great resource to use, meallime.com. As you can see at the top, if you type in an ingredient, it comes up with all these different recipes that you can make. And they also, if we can go to the next slide, have an app. And I just recently started using this. It's a free app for everybody. I don't know if there's an option to do it online, but if you can get access to the app, you log on and it has all these different recipes you can choose from. So you choose which recipes you want to make for the week, let's say, and then it automatically generates a grocery list for you, as you can see in the second phone screen here. And then you go through the grocery list and click off things you already have. So say you have salt and pepper in your cupboard, you have a few limes laying around, and you have chicken breast. So you check off all those things, and then you have your grocery list left. You can either send it to a grocery store to have your groceries delivered for a fee, but also what's really exciting right now is Fred Meyer's is doing a free grocery pickup, and you can actually send this grocery list to Fred Meyer and then go pick up these ingredients, and it's free of charge to you. And then, as you can see here, the recipes are also in the app. So for your Monday night dinner, you have all your ingredients that you picked up, and then you can go in to your app and look at your recipe for the evening. So just a super fun and easy app to use to keep you prepared. Next slide, please. If you don't want to use an app or the website or anything like that, this is also a great option to use. This is from ivaluefood.com. They do a lot of work with reducing food waste. And so you could have your weekly meal plan, as you can see here on the left, Monday through Sunday, and then on the right here have your shopping list. Just a simple way. And then you take your list to the grocery store and then know exactly what you need for the week. Next slide, please. Okay, and here's some options for different ways to meal plan. So a fun way for families, you can plan by genre. So we're going to do Mediterranean Monday, Italian Tuesdays, Pizza Fridays, and that just gives you like, okay, if we're going to do Italian Tuesday, oh, spaghetti, I could do spaghetti, I could do pizza. It kind of helps you think of ideas of what to make. Second, you can plan by protein. So say you want to do beans, black beans for dinner on Tuesday. What can we make with black beans? And so forth. Another fun way is to plan by family member favorites. So everyone in the family gets to pick 1 or 2 dinner recipes to make for the week. You can plan by what's on sale. If you're at the grocery store and chicken's on sale or bell peppers are on sale, and you want to make a recipe with that, that's a great option. And then lastly, to plan by what leftovers you have, as I talked about a little bit earlier. Next slide, please. Okay, so now that we talked a little bit about meal planning, I want to talk, we're going to go through a little grocery store tour. So your grocery store may look a little different than usual. As you can see down here, this is the click list cart from Fred Meyer, which I know a lot of people are using right now. Like I said, it's a free service. You order your groceries online and pay, and then can go pick them up at the store for free. So a great option there. Next slide, please. So first we're going to start off in the produce section. So you've likely been told that it's important to eat fruits and vegetables. But the why is really more fruits and vegetables are associated with less obesity, less chronic illness, including diabetes, coronary artery disease, hypertension, stroke, gallbladder disease, osteoarthritis, and some cancers. So that's our main bang for your buck. Fruits and vegetables are high in nutrients, high in fiber, and lower in the things that we don't want. Other benefits of eating fruits and vegetables include they're quick and easy. You can chomp on a couple carrot sticks or grab a handful of tomatoes to snack on during the day. An easy, great source for nutrients. And they also, since fruits and vegetables are high in fiber, they keep you fuller for longer. When talking about saving money with produce, I like to talk a little bit about organic foods. So I'm not sure if you've heard before, but it's called the EWG is a group that looks at produce every year, and they come out with a list that has produce with the most amount, that have been found to have the most amount of pesticide residue and the least amount of pesticide residues. So as you can see here at the top of the slide, there's two links here. And at the end of the presentation, in a follow-up email, you will get a link to these different links. So the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. So the Dirty Dozen are going to be the produce items that have been found to have the largest amount of pesticide residue. So if you are concerned about pesticide residue on your fruits and vegetables, we would consider buying the Dirty Dozen in organic. While the Clean 15, the 15 fruits and vegetables that have been found to have the least amount of pesticide residue, you could consider buying those as conventional and save money that way. My general recommendation is to rinse all of your produce, no matter what, organic or not, because it's been handled by multiple people, but the thing to know also is that because produce is regulated so finely, and how farmers can spread pesticides and use different things like that is so tightly regulated that there would never be a alarming amount of pesticide residue on any produce, conventional or organic, that could cause you harm. I just want to throw that out there. We can go to the next slide now, please. So also want to talk about a little bit about eating in a variety for fruits and vegetables. So as you can see on this slide, each color of produce has different nutrients in them. And then also each nutrient gives support to different body functions. So as you can see, let's say green fruits and vegetables are high in vitamin K and vitamin E, and they also support bone health, eye health, and cancer defense. So that's why it's important to eat a variety of colors of fruits and vegetables, because you're getting all these different nutrients from the different groups. Also, if you don't like broccoli, but you enjoy eating green beans and spinach, those are green vegetables, so you're getting those nutrients from them. Next slide, please. Also, I want to put a little tidbit in here about all forms matter. So if it's fresh, frozen, canned, dried, or juice, they're all getting you the nutrients that you need. Next slide, please. Okay, we have another question. So which vegetables will maintain best quality if stored at room temperature? Potatoes, onions, zucchini, tomatoes, all of the above, or A and B? Give you a couple seconds. Okay, we can go next. All of the above. So just another tip in reducing your food waste and also saving yourself money is storing these vegetables at room temperature. Next slide, please. So now we're going to move on to the bulk section. Most grocery stores have a bulk section now, and they are widely varied. So I shop at Winco a lot, and the bulk aisle is about 4 aisles long. So lots of great options there. One of my favorite things to do with the bulk section is create my own trail mix. And so you can go and buy all the different things you want to put together for your trail mix and then combine them at home. It's a great, easy snack for on the go, high energy, high nutrient density, and it saves you money. The great thing also about bulk is you save money, and you're also reducing the amount of packaging you would. So if you're buying, a box of pasta, where if you're buying pasta in bulk, you're just using a plastic bag which you can reuse for other things. So just a great way to save money, especially if you need things only in small amounts. Say you need a cup of lentils, but you don't want to buy a whole bag of lentils. You can go to the bulk section and find things like that. Next slide, please. Canned foods. So I know canned foods kind of get a bad rep sometimes, but they are a great option because they're shelf stable for about a year, and a great way to get nutrients. Some people worry about the sodium or sugar content in canned foods, but they actually aren't a very significant amount compared to other foods that we would eat. And if you are concerned about sodium in canned foods, I always suggest rinsing your canned foods, like your green beans or your black beans or whatever you have, and that reduces about 40% of the sodium in that food. Next slide, please. Now we're going to talk a little bit about protein. So I know here in the slide I have two pictures of meat as protein sources. The truth is most Americans get plenty protein in their diet, and specifically from meat. So what people often forget is that there are many other foods that provide plenty of protein for our bodies. So one of those options could be dairy. So cheese, yogurts, eggs are also a great source of protein. And then there's also plenty of plant sources out there as well. So to save money on protein, because meat can be very expensive, is to try incorporating different plant sources of proteins in your diet. And plant sources of protein also have extra nutrients and fiber and things like that that meat doesn't have for us. So here on this slide, we have complementary proteins. So meat and dairy and eggs are known as complete proteins, where beans are not a complete protein. But if you combine it with a grain, so you have beans and rice, then it's a complete protein because they kind of help each other out and give you the nutrients to make a complete protein. So as you can see here, this can be done with beans and rice, or beans and nuts, or green, like kale or spinach and rice, or nuts and a green leafy vegetable. Next slide, please. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about label reading. So at the grocery store, they are very good at marketing. And right now, a big thing in our culture is fresh, clean, green products. And so a lot of the times, as you can see on this slide with this sausage, it looks like very welcoming, right? It has the green packaging, the sunshine, some vegetables on there. But a lot of these are really just made as marketing material to sell their product. Another thing here, you can see the non-GMO label. This label actually is unregulated, and it doesn't verify if there's a presence or absence of GMO. It's just a private label verification that products can apply for. And then also, you can see these words over here on the left, natural, wholesome, simple, clean, green. There's really no formal definition for these claims on packages, and they really, food companies use these words to try and get others to buy their products. And then also made with, you'll see on products, made with, I'm trying to think of a word. Made with, various different items, but it doesn't mean that the food is only made with that item. For example, if the product says made with real fruit, it doesn't mean that it's only real fruit in there. It could have fruit juices or other additives in it as well. Next slide, please. So another thing, talking about food labels and another way to help you reduce your food waste and keep yourself safe, is defining these. So best if used by, I'm sure you've seen that plenty of times. It is not a purchase or safety date, and food may be eaten after this date. The product has the best flavor and quality if used by this date. The sell-by date, you should be buying this product before the sell-by date, and it's a fairly set time period before the food goes bad. But you would eat or freeze by the time on the chart below, which we'll link in the resources for the specific date. And then the use by date refers to the peak date of the best quality, but it is not a specific safety date. There's also another resource I have listed down here. It's an app called Is My Food Safe? And it's a great resource to use if you are concerned about any produce or meats that you have. It'll help you to ensure your safety. Next slide, please. Okay, so now we are in the frozen produce section. This is probably my favorite section. A lot of people think, well, no, I need fresh fruits and vegetables because they have the most nutrients in them. Well, that can sometimes be true, but with frozen or canned fruits and vegetables, they're picked from the farm and then taken to be, and they're picked at their peak ripeness to be frozen or put into cans, where fresh fruits and vegetables are likely picked before they're ripe because they have a long ways to travel to get to the grocery store, and then they're sitting in the grocery store until you or I come to pick up that item. So actually, by freezing or canning that food, it preserves those nutrients. So just another great tip, frozen produce is a great way to get your fruits and vegetables in. One of my favorite things to do with frozen produce is I buy, a lot of grocery stores have packets of stir-fry vegetables, and you can just toss that in the pan and fry it up and have it with your rice and chicken. And you don't have to spend the time chopping up all the different vegetables. You can just put it in your pan and you're good to go. Also, frozen fruit are great for yogurt toppings or smoothies. Just an easy and quick way to get any produce in your diet. Next slide, please. Okay, we have another question. So, how long will food stored constantly at 0 degrees Fahrenheit, which is generally what freezers are at, remain safe? 1 to 2 years, 5 years, or indefinitely? Next slide. The answer is indefinitely. So another great thing about frozen produce is that it will remain safe for consumption for a very long time. Next slide, please. Okay, now we are at the bread aisle. And I know the bread aisle can be very overwhelming. There are, it seems like thousands types of breads that claim they do all of these things. So first I want to talk a little bit about how to differentiate between whole grains and refined grains. The general recommendation is to have at least half of the grains you consume be whole grains. So a whole grain, as you can see in this photo here, has the bran and the germ still intact. And as you can see, both the bran and the germ have B vitamins, vitamin E, healthy fats, and things like that. Those are stripped away to create refined grain. So I like to think this as like wheat bread versus white bread. So we want to make sure we're getting at least half of our grains whole. If you don't like, let's say you don't like wheat bread, well, you can have white bread, but maybe try brown rice instead of white rice. Other whole grains can be quinoa, oatmeal, popcorn. There's plenty of other options out there for you. So then I want to talk a little bit about this label you see here from the Whole Grains Council. So as I said, it's recommended to have half of your grains during the every day be whole, and about 48 grams or more of whole grains daily. A slice of bread usually gives about, like this one has 16 grams per slice of bread. So this is a great label to look for on your bread to see how many grams of whole grain you're getting in each slice of bread. whole grain higher in fiber, giving you more nutrients, but it's also important to know refined grains are usually fortified with other like iron and folate and things like that, where whole grains aren't. So by eating both refined and whole grains, you're getting a good balance of nutrients. And we can go to the next slide. So some additional grocery store tips for you to save money is to have your list with you. So meal plan, have your list ready to go, and so you're not distracted or wondering, oh, do I need to get this time, or do I need to wait? My second tip is to check the price per pound or per ounce. Most grocery stores have this on the price label. So, for example, I know at Winco, for example, cheese sticks. It's cheaper actually to buy the 12-pack of cheese sticks rather than the 24-pack of cheese sticks, where you'd think, oh, you know, I'm buying more, so it's cheaper this way. Where in reality, they kind of trick you into think, you know, because we think that way. But really, if you buy 2 packs of the 12-piece cheese sticks, it's cheaper than buying the 24-pack. So just checking for that stuff. A lot of the times, the medium package size is the cheaper option than the larger or the smaller. So just look for those types of things, and that's also common with like laundry soap or dish soap and things like that. Next tip is to shop the bottom or outer aisle. So the grocery stores also put things right at eye level for us, and that's what they want us to buy, and it's likely the more expensive option. So by looking down and seeing your options there, or looking on the outside aisles, you're likely able to find cheaper options. And then my last tip is to go generic. So I know like Winco has their own brand, Fred Meyer's has their own brand, Safeway has their own brand. By buying their products, you're saving money because you're not paying for the brand name label. Next slide, please. Oh, I think we missed one. There we go. So I also just want to talk a little bit about food resources in our counties, especially right now. I know a lot of us are struggling with food and finding the time to make ourselves food. So there's a lot of help out there. So one is gleaning programs, and this is something that a lot of people aren't very familiar with. But gleaning is where you go and collect the leftover crops from farmers' fields after they've been commercially harvested, or when the fields are not economically profitable to harvest. So there's gleaning programs all over that you can be a part of to help choose the produce and take it home. And then second are food pantries. And these are sites that distribute bags or boxes of foods directly to those in need. And then thirdly, we have meal sites. So at meal sites, they, instead of going to pick up food to take home to make for yourself, they serve hot, nutritious meals for both individuals and families. And we will get, if you have any questions about accessing these resources in your communities, I would suggest contacting a dietitian working at any of the hospitals in our counties to help you get the resources that you need. Next slide, please. And that is all I have for you today. I just want to say thank you for attending. We will be sending a follow-up email to everybody, and there will be links to go to the resources and a recording of this webinar. So we can go to the next slide. And I think we're going to do some questions. So let me see if I can find those. Here we go. Okay. So let's see. I have a question from Susie. I follow the Mediterranean diet for health reasons. If you Google Mediterranean diet, you can find some great recipes. Awesome to know. Thank you, Susie. And then we have from Jamie. What is the difference between whole wheat and sprouted whole wheat? Is one better for you? So I'm not sure on that question. I didn't really buy whole wheat products. And I'm not sure on the sprouted whole wheat question. I will try and look into that a little bit more and get back to you. And then we have a question from Jamie. Is there a slide for the Dirty Dozen or Clean 15? So in the follow-up email that everyone will get, there will be a link to go to the resources that I had throughout the slides. If you want to look right now, it's ewg.org. And they have a bunch of resources on there, and you'll be able to find the list for the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. There we go. Thanks, Erin. Okay, I think that's all of the questions I see on here. Thank you all so much for coming to this presentation. I hope you learned a lot, and take care out there. Bye.
All right, thank you again for joining us today. Your feedback is valued. If you could take a moment to complete the brief survey, which I will put in the Q&A box here in just a moment. And then please watch for a follow-up email that will include a link to the recording. So we thank you for joining us again and hope that you have a great day. And here is the link to, if you would like to tell us how we did today. Thank you so much.